with my camera like all the time, pretty, but I know a lot of times, I have many moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I bring my camera with me? And I've got my cell phone on my hike. And so that's the best camera in the moment. That's the one I have on me. So cell phones, wow, have we come a long way. And I think now, wow, we're creating amazing portraits with our cell phones. So I think this is a great opportunity to shine with just our cell phone and fun. And a lot of things that I incorporate daily with my portraiture is also pertains to your cell phone and can help you create a better portrait. So I'm hoping to share some tips with you today. Oops, sorry, I gotta get used to this. My Wow, that's fast. Sorry, guys. I've been a portrait photographer for 25 years. When I came to Saugatuck, pretty jumped in pretty fast into family photography was a big demand here for tourists coming in and wanted family portraits. And weddings, of course, here is a great destination. So I spent a lot of time with that. Um, I This year I'm not focusing on families. I've kind of taken them off of my marketing, but I have people that I shoot for regularly, locals that what they call me up and say, "Will you do my family portraits?" I will continue to do that, and I have returning clients. But I really want to focus on some things that I'm really passionate about this year. It's a way I grew this year during the pandemic. I reflected and like, what do I really love? I love photojournalism. One of the things that I'm doing, I travel with One Big Island in Space, which is Big B Coffee. And we travel and I photograph in the third world countries, and I photograph the farms, the coffee fields, the people, and we stay there and spend time with everyone and get to know them, and I photograph that. I love that. It takes away, it strips me down to just my camera. There's no lights, there's no, it's bare minimum. And I find that I love it because here, United States, I use big lights and even outside, and I'm striving for a real commercial feel, and so it's just fun to just kind of just go in a different way when I'm there. So I'll be here in town. I got a little studio space in Wilkins Hardware at the garage, but it's perfect for me because I can open up the garage door and have the airflow and feel like in the COVID and everything, like that I'm protected. My clients are protected. We have air flow. I got have my backdrop, my lights. It's really simple, but I can achieve a lot in that space. So that's going to be this year. I want to work with the businesses locally, headshots and marketing, and also senior portraits and just portraits of people. And I have many weddings scheduled. So that's what I'm looking at right now. So I just want to dive right in. First and foremost, doesn't matter if it's a cell phone or a DSLR or whatever camera you're shooting with. For me, my magic is to know my client and to know my subject. And I have to do that very quickly much of the time because a lot of times it's tourists and people that don't live here and don't know me. And so I spend time really just who are you? What do you love? What do you like to do? Try to get to know their personality. So you probably will have an advantage because you'll probably be photographing people you really know. But think about the interests that they have, how you can bring that out in the photograph. You probably recognize in this photo. So, but yeah, so we just, I don't know, sometimes it's something as crazy and awesome as the bee outfit, right? And other times it might be the person loves the beach and just loves nature, and so you get your subject out in nature or at Oval Beach, or I always ask portraits, like seniors, I always say, what do you love? Where do you love to go? What makes you feel happy? What location makes you feel the best about yourself? So sometimes it might be a room in a house that this is my special room and I love the light in here. I love my art. I love an art gallery. So really think about what you can bring to your portrait. Just as simple as knowing the person and just have discussion with them and see if they want props in the photo, a favorite outfit. A lot of times people ask me what to wear, and I always say, wear what makes you feel good. So, think about things such as that. What color brings out their eyes? Those things will help in image, because your image will show that. Your image will show connection to them. And that's one of the powerful things about photography, is just being able to make that connection in an image. And so that's for that. That's that tip. And this is really sensitive to, there we go. Pick the perfect background for your subject. Here, Oval Beach is almost in every one of my portrait sessions. It says people come here and they love Oval Beach. And I am particularly fond of sunset, as most people are here. So a lot of my portraits are at sunset. We have many trails. The state park is gorgeous. Felt Mansion's gorgeous. Sometimes it's the backyard is meaningful to a family, and a lot of times a front porch is meaningful. So just asking, your subject, where do you feel great? What location, what background? Is it maybe just a window or a wall? Brings out the feeling of who they are. So that's one thing to consider. I wish this would arrow down. It's doing it by my touch. There we go. Another thing that to consider is, would you prefer with this subject, does it fit better to do an environmental portrait? This is Julie Petter, and we do pictures in her gallery often of her portrait, and because that's her environment and that makes sense for her marketing and her business. Some people, it might be a sailboat, or just a location that the environment says this is who they are. So an artist a lot of times is surrounded by their artwork. Horse lovers have their horse and their dog, and having the things around their environment that it speaks to who they are. So I would, think about that. Posed or candid. Posed portraits, some people, that's just really them. They're more classic, and they want to look a certain very perfect, like their hair is perfect and their pose is perfect and their eyes are perfect. And some people would rather have a candid picture. And a tip for that, take a lot of pictures while you're doing that, and interact with the person. You can get a more authentic laugh or look a lot of times, and I do that often. I'm just having conversation, and half the time they don't know I'm taking pictures, and I'm still snapping away even though I'm talking. And then when they laugh, wow, I love that. I love when you get an authentic laugh in a picture. Even if they're looking like this, looking away, that's him, and it's just that moment that is not posed and isn't planned. And so you can capture that with a cell phone without any trouble. You just really got to take many pictures while you're talking and interacting. So that is that. Sorry, wish there was an easy, there we go. Lighting is everything for me. It is like, cell phone does, I will be honest with you, is better with natural light. I find the flash on a cell phone can give you red eye, the color tone of the skin, it's just not very flattering. So I'd encourage you to use a natural, softer light to capture your image. So you're going to look for that in wherever your environment is. You want to look, if it's a window light coming in gently, if it's a cloudy day, you can easily turn the face toward the light and get a soft, pretty light on their face. If it's bright sunshine and they're squinting, you want to turn their face away from the light. And I'll give you a trick in a minute with that. But the shade is very nice if you're in the woods or a garden and you can find a spot that has a shady, soft, where the light, like this one here, that let the sun make the hair pretty with highlights and make the face, in the shade. They'll smile and they're not going to be squinting, and it'll be flattering. The portrait of the woman here on the screen, that is just window light. That was just a polyfoam core black, and you could do this at home. That's just a large piece of foam core board from Hobby Lobby behind her, and that's the window light coming in. So you can capture that, and it's beautiful and it's soft, and it wasn't all the magical lights that I use. It's just that. So you can use your judgment on that, but that's a very pretty way to get a flattering photo of someone. Like I said, you don't want the sun directly in the face, so they're squinting. Sometimes here on the beach, sunset, if the sun is just in the right position as it's getting ready to go, it's in their face if you're having them look at the sun. And if you turn them around where the sun is behind, you're going to get all kinds of sun flare. And so if the sun's directly behind them, it's problematic for a cell phone. If the sun is directly in front of them, it's problematic for their face and too bright. So you want to turn them sideways towards you, and you can watch with your light, with your cell phone, how their facial expression is responding to the light, and work with that, and just keep turning them until you get where you're happy with the photo. But avoid that. I would say just avoid the bright light. That it just will help you create a more flattering photo. For cell phone, and I'm going to take questions. Should I take questions? Maybe Ingrid, let me stop for a moment and go ahead, and if anybody has any questions so far, that's fine. I don't want to lose you.
I was going to say, if you should be able to unmute yourself if you have a question. Let me make sure that you can.
Hi, Kathy.
Anybody?
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
I do actually. This slide, it went right to one of the questions that I had, and that is like a lot about angle of shooting. Some very interesting, photos that to me can be either you're much higher, sometimes looking up, although that can, you don't want to be looking up someone's nostrils.
True.
But so that's a curiosity for me.
That's especially when, like, we have double chins. I'll hear women say that to me often in a portrait session. They'll say, "Oh my gosh, get rid of my double chin." And the magic is holding your cell phone up, because everything starts to look a lot more flattering. Even with wrinkles, women will say to me, "Oh, I've got too many wrinkles." This angle is your magic. So if you're photographing anyone who has those concerns, you can think about that being a really beautiful angle for them, having them look up. And one of the double chin magic things that I know is I tell clients out and down. It's contra. If you have a double chin, you tend to want to like go like this, right? We're trying to get rid of that, and we don't want anybody to see it by how we feel. But the truth is, the way the camera reads, it's out and down, and then you can create that look. So that's something that might help you. That's been a very fun thing with the cell phone portability, is how we can be so creative with angles. Places my camera is challenged to go. If you're down low, like this one here, I'm looking through this bicycle rack at this girl and just having some fun and being creative. But I was laying down flat on the ground, with my camera, and looking up. The younger kids, like the teens, they're so much easier to do the looking up. Is more flattering, if I'm photographing them. They don't have so much going on. But yeah, and even standing above the girl, the far left, standing above, I literally was like, "Can I stand across you?" I'm standing across her and I'm doing this, but that's a really beautiful way to photograph people. You can do it in the sand and the grass and the leaves, and having that around, and it's gravity's on our side, like when we're looking up and laying down. A tip for that: if you put a rolled up towel behind the neck, if someone is laying down flat on the ground, it does help the angles a little bit and make it a little more comfortable for them. Just, hide it behind, and that way they're not, going too far back, but that would help. But I think,
Was
yeah,
that natural shade on her, the one, it looks like pavement, was that, or was that some kind of a screen?
that was a real shadow coming through. It was in Saugatuck in the alley there, by Bella Sweets and everything. The trying to remember the Black Alley. Oh my gosh, what's the name of it? Well, there's a round art metal, and the sunlight was coming through it, casting the shadows.
That's
And it's like,
cool.
oh, like lay here. So, and shadows are a lot of fun. And, you know, just keeping your eye out for that. You know, they're everywhere, and you can utilize those how your artistic self wants to. And so, yeah.
That was Leland's Alley,
Leland.
Bella Vita Spa.
Yes, Leland's Alley. My mind went blank. And it's still there, so go try it. So you just got to that was morning in the summer, and the sun was just in the right position. It would just, we happened to be there at the right time, and I groove on shadows. So, yeah.
Gorgeous.
Is there any other questions? I feel like I'm
Yes, I have a question, Kim.
Yes.
I do a lot of nature photography, so up close of bees,
Oh, nice.
flowers, a lot of up close type things like that. So I am assuming a lot of these things cross over and can apply also.
For this, Ingrid, is this, if I'm not wrong, is this portraits of people for the unmasked, correct?
I think that was the plan. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can incorporate a person into nature, maybe that way, I mean, as far as for the actual unmasked.
No, I'm just asking if the tips you're giving,
Oh, okay.
if those, some of them have a crossover and can also apply to, like, when you're photographing a flower or a bumblebee up close inside of a flower. I've done a lot of those and I have to get really close to them, but I'm noticing some of these tips also apply to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do a lot of nature as well, and I love it. And the tips just flow. It's light, you know, it's light. It really, when it comes down to it, it's light and shadow, whether it's a bee or a person, you know. And definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anybody else so far?
I suggest something.
Hi, Scott.
Hi, Kim. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. Photography is basically photo is light and graphic is drawing. So you're drawing with light.
Yes.
And, you know, angle, you know, I look at Kim's stuff and I marvel. I'm so grateful for you instructing, but you can do a million things with your imagination, just seeing. Shoot a high angle, it will make the body recede, the eyes will look larger. You shoot a kid, you sit in the ground, you shoot them up, they'll look monumental, and you'll see just the sky against them and not a whole bunch of background or trees. So use your imagination, and don't depict. Well, depict, of course, but express.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's the fun thing we have the advantage of with cell phones. Well, even with cameras, the digital age, we can click, 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 click and experiment. And, you know, we're not throwing film away like we used to. So you can think, you know, if you take a bunch of pictures of your grandchild or your husband or wife or whoever, and you don't get a good one that day, that's okay. You experimented, and you're just letting yourself create. And it's kind of like in the art world when we free draw, you know, and you just let your mind go. We can do that in photography. And so feel free. I just have fun. So absolutely. So yeah, I'll keep going. So perspective, changing your angle. I think we just covered that. Well, so I think that's where your creativity can just fly. So have fun with that. I'm gonna, oh, did it? Sorry. Wish I could do better with this. Let me try this. Oh, Sorry, it won't stop. I'm trying. There. Cell phone settings. So I'm gonna hit this hard here, and the next slide gives you examples. So we will have this up on the library website for you to refer to. Big important thing is to get your cell phone setting where your image is the highest quality it can be according to your cell phone. Many of the new ones, the newer iPhones and Androids will shoot RAW, and you want to select RAW for your highest resolution if you have that option. If not, you want to use HDR. Is helps with the tonal, the quality, and give you a high quality image. And if all you have is the highest JPEG option, you choose that. Just whatever the highest option is. I do have links for you for Android and iPhone that you can go to, and it'll help you see how to make that setting for your camera or for your iPhone or your Android. That is going to help us when we print, because we're trying to print a 14 by 17 ish. I can't remember the exact, but we want it to be a decent size, and it's the max that cell phones go well. So like we're trying to make it a quality print on the wall. So that'll just help us have the best quality for you. And another, just a small tip on that, portrait mode is lovely, and you don't have to use that if that doesn't go with what you're trying to achieve. But portrait mode on your cell phone will blur the background a bit and just make your subject stand out. And I realized I didn't say this on my slide. I want to say this now. Pay attention to your backdrop, your background. You don't want to have, look what's happening behind your subject's head. If there's like a tree popping out of their head from the background, or a light pole, pay attention to what's happening in the background. You don't want anything to be distracting from your subject. So, the portrait mode, you can get, close up and blur the background, and that helps just really center on your subject. And so that's a really good thing to keep in mind. And I think, let me go. The next slide is your, and if you want to, I'll stop there. This will give you the links if you want to write them down or refer to this later to help you with your settings. And we can go over some of that if you want to together after this, but I think they're pretty self-explanatory. But
Kim,
yes,
this is Ingrid. We're going to send out the recording, so we can include some of these links when we send out the recording too. If that's helpful.
Perfect. Is it okay if are you still, I don't want to, anybody's writing, but we'll include the links for you. Oh my.
Always take a picture of the screen.
So the most simple, clean your lens of your camera on your cell phone. I am guilty of not doing that, and like, why is this picture not turning out right? It's a little blurry, or there's a little something in there. So clean, when you know you're trying to achieve a portrait for the Unmasked project, clean your lens first, just to keep it nice and sharp. And there's a cell phone trick, and I don't know if you already know this, but I want to try to, it's written here, but I want to show you at the same time. If you go to your, I don't know if it's going to show. When you click on, if you're taking a picture and you click on your screen and you hold your finger, a little sunshine is going to appear. And if you go up, it exposes, makes it brighter. If you go down, and it makes it underexposed. Set your exposure where you want it before you take that picture, and you have the power to do that. And that's pretty great that we can do that now. And then when you have your exposure where you want it, click to focus, so you can get your camera focused on your subject. Because I don't know, not everybody, it took me a while to even figure this out. you can change your focus anywhere on your iPhone. But the tip I want to give you is put the focus on their eyes. That'll make their eyes really sharp and help, and give your cell phone a place to focus, and that helps your whole portrait, because eyes really become one of the most important part of a portrait, because that's where you're connecting through. And so keeping the exposure on the face is what I would say, and the focus on the eyes. Underexpose a little bit when you're setting your exposure, make it a little darker than what you would really want it to, the end result to be, because after you take that picture, you can edit it here and increase it to where you think is right for you. But if you've already had it so bright, the highlights can blow out, and maybe the face is really pale then. And maybe if they're wearing lighter colors, it's really way too bright. You can't get that back very well, and not in a way that prints well or looks well. So going a little under and then later increasing exposure where you want it is a really good tip. The focus is really important. Again, like I said, just, you can control your focal point with your finger. The grids, I don't know if this shows, there is a setting, if anybody wants to ask me if you don't know how to get to it, or if you want to Google, there's a technique to get to your grids and have photo grids on your screen. This will help you keep your horizon straight. Sorry, I wish I could, let me see, let me try it this way. If I take maybe I can show you. No, it won't let me. Do you see the little grids? Not really. So the grids, like on this one is 6 little square boxes. And in settings, if you go to camera and go to settings, you can click to have your grids turn on. And that helps you when you're going and you're looking through, say the beach is in the background, you don't want your horizon to be crooked. If you're focused on somebody and then the horizon's coming this way out of the back of their head, or that, you want to, that's just going to give you a little guide to keep things straight. And that helps your image look more professional. And if you need help on that, does everybody understand the grid part? Feel free. Yeah, okay. Again, as mentioned earlier, but taking more than one photo, just keep taking them and keep taking them. With your cell phone, you can just take so many and be able to select later, the one that speaks to you. And that's what happens to me with my work a lot. I don't take near as many as I used to, but like if I have several different poses and things like that, there'll be one every time that just stands out to me that goes, oh, that's them. I just feel it in my gut and I just go, oh, that's really them. So that, you just give yourself some options and have fun with that. Big thing. If you have a tripod for your cell phone, it's magic. It's no different than with my camera. If I use a tripod, it gives you stability and it makes your image sharper. And so for something like this, and they're not expensive, there's all kinds of little holders. Amazon has them, Meyer has them, just little holders that make it so it's nice and steady, and you can click and do everything and then click your cell phone shutter and it keeps it all sharp. So that's a really important thing. And then I want to show you, this is like magic. So it's just a piece of foam core board. This can help your photos so much when you're taking portraits. You can reflect light into, so if you, I don't know, it's probably weird with this, but if part of their face is a little shaded, or if you're getting some shadows that you don't like and you want to boost their exposure just a little bit, you can bounce the sunlight off of this. You can bounce window light, like if this is a window, and you can put this on the side of your subject on this side, and it lights this side more. So this, you can do so much with this, and you get to control it. It gives you control. So if you're outside and you feel like, oh, their face isn't bright enough, bounce the light. You can bounce it under, to the side, 45-degree angle, and just play with it and watch their face and see where the light is hitting and getting you a little bit more light. And that can just ensure you have sharpness as well, and just a nice exposure. So yeah, so those are my tips, my tips to help you. If you have questions, feel free. Kathy, can you do it? I think you have to, can you, oh, there you go.
Yes, thanks, Kim. That was amazing. I do have I don't know if it's a question or an observation, but a lot of portraiture I see, it's like the older classic portraiture where, there was a very classic look, not really shadowy, but now it's kind of like shadows can give a lot of interest to portraits.
I think it's so fun because, I think early on in photography, I had to learn, paint with light. It was always light, 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 get your lights right, get the exposure. And then I went through a stage, now I'm like obsessed with shadow. So I'm like, where's the shadow hitting? Not where's the light hitting? It's both for me, but I think it's almost like you've got your light paintbrush and your dark paintbrush, at your disposal. And you get to decide by looking at your subject and your scene what you want and where you want those things to fall and what speaks to you. And it's so fun. Yeah, I think there's the trend in photography, just if you're talking like family photography, wedding photography, seniors, things like that, the trend is natural light, which I do not do so much. I do if somebody says I want natural light, and then I'll do it. That's just because that's not my I was trained differently, and I was trained that the light is everything, and being able to have the skill to fill light and use strobes outside on the beach. What that did for me is put the beach into your portrait. If you're out at sunset or you're out during the day at the beach and you're trying to take a picture of a family or a bride or anybody, a senior, a person, you have to expose for their face. And what happens if you're shooting natural light, you're exposing for their face, and all the background has to expose for their face too. So you'll notice there's hardly any background. There's bright white light, or the beach is this very pastel faint beach. And when I first came here, I was shooting primarily natural light with a little bit of flash pop here and there off camera. And I felt like my clients were happy, but I kept looking at these images going, oh, I'm bad. I'm like, they should not be paying me. They're coming here for the beach, and I'm not seeing the beach in their pictures. I'm seeing white light. Who wants that? So I studied, and I found what makes my pictures different. It's not Photoshop. What you're seeing in my pictures isn't Photoshop. It's my lights. I'm using strobe lights. And it's the only light in the world, honestly, that they've created that overpowers the sun. And what that means is I can expose for the background, and my flash can fill for the exposure on the face. So then I've got the face and the beach. And see, that's why my pictures stand out. People are like, oh my gosh, what is that? Why, and oh, you're Photoshop. No, I'm not Photoshopping. I hate spending time in Photoshop. I know how. I took all the classes. It's not, I don't want to sit. I'm busy. I gotta go, And so so that's what mine is different. That's my skill set. And that's what makes me feel comfortable providing. That's how I provide to my clients a quality image. I'm not there's moments where I'm a fan of natural light, where like this with cell phone pictures, and when you utilize soft shadowy light and soft window light, I think it's beautiful. And especially on the older we get, I've had women come in and they don't want all their wrinkles to be defined in their photograph, and the soft natural light is the magic. It's not my big bright light. It's the window, beautiful diffused light, and that makes their skin much more flattering, right? Instead of pulling out the bright light and all our flaws, and so they all have their place. I just had to figure out what worked for me here, and I'm on the beach every day, pretty much, in the summer. So that's how I felt like, this is what I've got to do. But now I can have fun because it's just shadows, like you say. I can put my light a certain way and create a shadow, if I want, and some of that. So yeah.
So when maybe you or Ingrid or Scott's going to explain how we turn in images, but they're going to be shot raw, no after filtering, no soft focus, no,
You
know.
can, and I think what we intended was it not to be put into Photoshop. We were trying to keep it like a level for everybody. Use on your cell phone, when you pull a picture up, you can hit edit and you can adjust your exposure and your focus, your sharpness. There's all kinds of tools that automatically come up there. And I feel free, you got to finish your photo off. I
Okay.
think we were just trying to avoid, master photographers coming, coming in with Photoshop and going crazy, but just, the everyday, what we all can do,
Okay.
Can I step in?
Yep.
Yeah, just a little bit. Kim, you're a master of light. I have, had a long career as a photojournalist, and I really have used available light to my advantage and disadvantage. Very much to my disadvantage, I throw away too much stuff. I'm not a pro, but it has taught me to compensate it, to move around my subject and shoot from different angles, and to do what you call bracket your shots. Take many pictures, take many variations of those pictures, and just throw away everything except the one that works, the one that expresses.
Love that.
That's the person you want to get. Yeah, focus is good. I mean, there are principles, but we are also looking for something that just works in front of your eyes. And some of that is instinctive, or I hope is intuitive, or is up to your creativity. Look at it on the screen. Do what you can with it to make it great. And we have some great tips here, but you can apply every tip and you might go back to your original. If that is the one that works and pops and expresses the portrait of the person, that's your picture.
Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Kim mentioned a tripod. We actually at the library have one that we can circulate. So if you feel like, yeah, I want to try, it's nothing fancy. It's just a little kind of bendable thing. But if you feel like you got some good light out and you want to try, stop by the library. We'll check it out just like we were checking out a book. Give me a couple days to get that processed. But yeah, we'll have that available if you'd like to check out a tripod.
Ingrid?
Brenda.
Yeah. Actually, this is for Ingrid. I've been trying to figure out who had that noise that's like static. So you have something going on in the background that sounds like running water, or I don't know what it is. Does anybody else hear that when she was on?
I hear it. Yeah, I heard it. Yeah.
I was going to say,
I
I'm
think-
trying this. One minute.
Yeah. And Kim, I love those photos that you took on that trip with Bigby, the two elderly people.
Oh yeah.
They're very, very good.
Thank you. I think that's, I sit here and bash, oh, natural light on the beach. Well, when I travel with them, I only have natural light and I don't get that option. But it's also powerful because then I don't even have to think about it. I'm just thinking about the person. And so it was a powerful trip and I'm excited we're supposed to tour the rest of the world when we can.
Yeah.
So, but
even the lines in their faces, to leave those just the way they are. Yeah, it's precious.
Thank you. Yeah, that yeah. If I could pull out one thing in my life that I want to do the most, it's that. And I'm trying. I've had people working on the other end of this trying to get me some connections for that. Not everybody wants to go, hey, take me to the world tour in third world countries. Let's go. But I do well there. I love it. And I feel safe and I think I had two lenses. I had one lens with me and one backup lens, and my one cam. I mean, that was because it was a level 4 travel warning, so we had to stay under the radar, so you don't flash fancy anything, So yeah. But and I treated that was really that came up too. And no matter who you're photographing, I was in the coffee fields and there's language barriers and whatever, but I'd pull somebody over, an interpreter or whatever, and I'd say, may I take your picture? I didn't just shoot ever. I asked ever, may I take your picture? What is your name? What, tell me your story. I did not just snap because I felt honor and respect to everyone there. And so, and I think, and they told me later that that came out in the photos, you know, because, and even the owners of the farm said, we've had photographers in here, nobody's ever done that. You did that. And they said, now people respect you. And they loved it. You know, after a while, they're like, oh, I'll take my picture. You know, so, but I love it. Yeah. Thank you. And so that's, I mean, I guess that's the thing. You don't need all the lights and the glamour to take a beautiful portrait. Like Scott was saying, you may get, and I've had that in my early work, my kids, when my kids were little, I wasn't doing all this other extra lighting and all this stuff. You know, I wish I had some of that back then, but you know, those pictures are still a treasure and valuable and capture who they are. So it doesn't matter if you get it all right. You know, you're just trying to like say, oh, maybe this will help me, you know, improve an idea I have, you know. So, yeah.
Never be shy to look at your final image and make it work. More to the point, never be shy to walk around and try different things and see what you can get. But Kim makes a huge point. You want a connection with your subject. You want to bring them out and, you know, help them feel confident and expressive. And, you know, my experience with kids is they'll be exuberant to a fault. You know, sometimes grown-ups, some are more, some are less. They'll be reticent or they'll be, oh, I need to pose or something. No, you want to get spontaneity. You want to get life.
From the photojournalist.
Well,
it's true. He's not wrong. He's true.
but you know, what you do is magnificent, Kim. I mean, you take portraits and they're the best.
Back at you, photojournalist.
Thank you.
You do your job extremely wow. I love your work.
We have fun.
Yep.
And Saugatuck is a beautiful place, Douglas. We have a beautiful place to express, and we have a great opportunity as people who want to submit things to here to express our community blooming and coming through COVID-19 and coming into a new year and coming into blank walls in a library to make this place sing.
That's beautiful. Awesome. I don't know. Does anybody else have any thoughts or questions? Anything?
I do.
Yes.
Maybe I'm too rules oriented, but is it locals? Like, you know, we've got a weekend place in Saugatuck, so do I shoot locals? Like, do I have to have a subject that's local? Or can I ask my artist friend from Grand Rapids to come over?
What, Scott?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I think you're
He's on
still
mute.
you're muted, Scott.
I think my understanding, as best I know, and Ingrid maybe can correct me, is we need a local connection. In other words, if you take a picture of the Grand Canyon or the zebras running in Kenya or whatever, that's not a local picture. You get a local person posing in front of the Grand Canyon, well, you know, we do have a lot of people who are tourists who come here regularly or not. You know, they come to regular settings, beautiful, recognizable settings that showcase the beauty of Saugatuck and Douglas. You know, that's getting us closer. The best, you know, would be local people in local settings. You know, my sense, and Ingrid, maybe you can help me, but is as long as we have some sort of strong local setting or says, these are portraits in Saugatuck-Douglas post 2020, that might be worth putting on a wall.
Thank you.
I'm going to try to unmute myself. Do I sound any better than I did before?
Yes.
Okay, good. Somebody was going to have a tech problem. Who would guess it would be the facilitator? Yeah, we're not going to be really strict with the rules. What Scott said is we want a local connection. So, if you're in the Upper Peninsula with your family, but if you're on the Great Wall of China, probably not. Although you shouldn't go to the Great Wall of China now anyway. So yeah, we're not going to be strict. Send us some of your best. Send us your best stuff, something you're proud of, and that's the most important thing.
Good. Anybody else? Thoughts, questions? Sharing anything?
I have a question for you, Kim.
Yes.
Did you shoot your own portrait, the one with the rock and roll t-shirt?
Yes.
Is that a self-portrait?
Yes.
Good job.
In fact, yes.
Why not?
The head of Forbes, he messaged me and he goes, God, your lighting is on par. And I said, self-portrait. But that one got, but it was funny because I laughed. I'm like, yeah. But it I don't know. It was more out of convenience. It's not ego. It's not that I don't feel like somebody can't take my picture. I needed it fast. Honestly, I needed it for something I was doing, and everything was set up and I just did it really fast. So yes.
Where are we supposed to send the photo submissions?
Mm-hmm.
Photo submissions should go to the email address sddlibrary@gmail.com. If you have any questions about the process, you can call the library 269-857-8241. But yeah, we also have, basically contact us and we'll figure out how to get the pictures. Yeah, but the sddlibrary@gmail.com. Like I said, we're going to be sending a follow-up email with a recording. I'm going to include some links that Kim provided, and I'll put some more instructions in that email as well.
All right, thank you.
Say, Kim, I have a quick question.
Yes.
You were talking about some of your favorite places, Oval Beach. Then you also mentioned the Felt Mansion, and then most people think about Mount Baldy and Saugatuck. Is there a hidden gem out there that you found that you're willing to share with the people?
Yeah, I don't keep secrets. It honestly depends on what you're looking for. I think everything here is a hidden gem. I think Red Dock is really fun. The colors and everything in the background there's so much there. I have a lot of fun when I shoot there.
Okay.
Oval Beach, and some of it too for me depends on access. If I'm with someone older who doesn't want to do a lot of climbing in the dunes or whatever, I just think about, well, Oval Beach is easy pull up access, and that helps me. Downtown, just walking around downtown is really great. Wicks Park is nice because you can get Mount Baldy in the background of it from there. Downtown has a lot of textures, bright color on the side of buildings and murals and different things to have fun with. Gosh, those are my go-to spots. I honestly, when I first lived, I've been here 6 years. When I first was here, I was always after like something unique, but then I kind of figured out most of my clients are tourists coming here and everything's unique, and it kind of got in a rut of like, we'll go to Oval Beach, we go to Red Dog, we go downtown, and it kind of becomes pretty much like that's what I always do, but that's what they want to do, so it's what happens to me. But I think yeah, it's beauty's everywhere here. I can't tell you that I have some secret spot. I don't have a secret spot. I'm pretty much out where everybody is. And I think yeah, Pier Cove, it can be really pretty if you've been over there. I've shoot there. Glen Beach is pretty. It's kind of rough getting down there. That's outside of Fenville and then into Glen. Fenville's a darling, and I don't want to take away from it. It's not just Saugatuck. I mean, Fenville has a lot of brick and a lot of character downtown going on. That's really fun to photograph there. Yeah.
Kim, you are someone who follows her eyes. You know, my thought is go anywhere where the light is good and you don't get arrested for taking pictures of people, and ask their permission, get their names first, because we do want to document this. But yeah, and hey, you know, if it's your kid, if it's yourself, take it in your house. And, you know, it doesn't have to be beautiful. It could be something ugly, you know, or whatever. It could be something that tells the story where the background frames the person that expresses them. I mean, I've seen pictures of beautiful people, and I've seen people, very aged people who are frail and holding hands. And, you know, some of those were the best pictures I've ever seen. We want portraits of people that tell us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And there, you know, I was thinking about that too. A lot of the portraits here too, when people are the house and the front porch is special. Sometimes somebody's favorite chair, like a rocking chair. I've had an elderly that this is their favorite rocking chair, and it made a phenomenal image that the family will cherish forever. So it's, yeah, like Scott said, it's not always all this, you know, if you're zooming in close, simple, you can use the white wall at home, you know.
I have a question. This is probably for Ingrid, maybe Scott and Kim too. Are you planning on putting captions on the pictures you choose for the library, or just the picture itself? I didn't know if you would identify the person in the picture or the setting, or.
We'll leave that a little bit up to the whoever submits it. So if they want to give us a name, we'd love to have a name, but if they'd rather not give a name, we won't require that. I think we'll likely have at least one sentence for every picture. But what we asked is in the submissions, if you could give us a sentence or two about what, where, why you took the photo. As much as you want to tell us. I mean, we're not going to be printing, you know, long but there'll likely be at least one caption, and we'd like to include who took the picture as well, if you'd feel free to share that too.
Okay, I like that. I think even if you can capture a little brief story, I think that's very meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Well, I don't want to cut anybody off, but it seems like the chatter has died down. So I'll say last chance for questions. Sounds like we're good. Thanks again to everybody for coming. Expect a follow-up email. I hope that you will all participate in our this exhibit. We need you all. Tell your friends, spread the word, and we want to get as many pictures as we can. We've got this beautiful building. We haven't had too many people in it yet, so we're looking forward to a time where even if we can't have a bunch of people at one time, we can have a bunch of pictures of people at one time. So help us out, spread the word, and thanks so much for coming. Thanks especially to Kim for her sharing her time and talents. This is really a fabulous gift.
Thank you, Scott.
And yes, and Scott, thank you too for your for chipping in with some really good points as well.
Absolutely.
It's
All
a
right.
great idea. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
All right.